Rocky, keep talking about whiskey and kicks.
All right, man. Here we go. It's your boy, man. It's your boy Brocky, Whiskey and Kicks. Another sipping with Brocky situation, man. We comfy up in here. We got the peanuts, bananas, cocktails,
Shout
water.
out to my dad.
You say you keep it African, right?
Yes, sir.
My man Thomas.
It's like the weirdest combination, but I grew up with it, so.
Word. Thomas the Great. That's what they call you, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
What's good, man?
Everything is everything. I'm excited to finally get to graze your podcast, talk a little shit, you know.
Yeah, you can get it in a little bit, man. Let's cheers it up, man. It's been a long time. We
Think about 3-4 years ago, right?
It's been a minute because
Ducky's grand opening.
You came to my my event at Major,
right,
and whatnot, and then what was it? It was it might have been a shoe drive or something like that.
Was it a shoe drive? I
thought it was some kind of party I was throwing.
It was a grand opening of Major, right?
Nah, he had already been open there when we had that event. So it was either.
So yeah, then maybe it was a shoe drive.
No, was it at Major or was it at one of the other joints I threw in the event? It was one of my events.
I'm sure it was at Major because I distinctly remember that because I met you and Frank that day.
Oh, Frank Mills. Okay, yeah. So Frank was over there slinging drinks and stuff. Him and French
with the Shinju.
Yeah, Shinju whiskey. So. Yeah, man, that was a few years ago, 3 years ago.
Something like that.
Because COVID, it's like a year lost almost.
Yeah, so like that whole shit almost feels like it deleted whatever the fuck anybody was doing.
Yeah, like you skipped the whole year, yo. It's crazy. But so yeah, we linked up then, and you was with the one joint. What's the Trezzo. You was with Trezzo Beach or whatever. And
yes,
I came up
indeed.
to there.
Yes, indeed.
You done with that now?
Yeah. Niggas grow and go different ways.
Yeah.
So, respect to Reef.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Respect to those brothers doing their thing, man. What you been up to, man? What's good?
I've been up to everything and nothing. Working behind the scenes. I mean, for me, my whole thing is like, I don't really care about my name being in the lights. A lot of the work that I do is just is between me and the person. My achievements or the different things that I may do, like I'm not doing it to like show off. So, I mean, recently I have the podcast going with my brothers BMO and Matt, aka Backpack Matt. That is called Over the Shoulder. And that goes on at the Washington Informer, aka the Bridge headquarters.
Okay.
Station in Southeast.
That's all audio?
Yeah, strictly audio.
And what's the premise? What's the show about? What's the podcast?
So it's funny. I kind of have to say the whole story to really make it, for the title to make sense.
That's what we're here for.
Right. So I'm always around creatives in some sort of way, whether that's a photographer at a shoot, one of my homies modeling, being a personality, or in the studio with a musician, or anything like that. But as I was starting to get more familiar with my photography homies, I would always take these pictures over their shoulder.
Oh, okay.
So me and one of my homies, he knows that I'm always connected or doing something, and he was like, yo, we should all do a podcast. And I was like explaining to him, like, yo, one of my favorite shots is shoot over somebody's shoulder. And he was like, then if we call it Over the Shoulder.
That's dope.
And it's like you eavesdropping on 3 creatives talking life and creative shit, pretty much. So there's like 3 main segments. BMO goes too deep. We call him like a kind of.
Oh, so that's the name of his segment?
Yeah.
Oh, that's dope.
So BMO goes too deep. Players Ball. I love this joint.
You got videos playing, 90s videos playing in the background.
Yeah, that. I never knew that was a Christmas song.
Yeah, man, I found that out maybe about 5-6 years ago.
Yeah, like that.
Somebody was talking about that. I was like, what are you talking about? And I listened to it. It was like, that's crazy.
That's dope though. But anyways, getting back on subject. So BMO goes too deep. A lot of times he's talking about, we call him like a culture analyst, right? So, he went to Howard, he graduated, is real studious and all that, has a long vocabulary, and he'll, just take something and analyze it. Sometimes it could be something as simple as, I don't know, porn or something, like talking about something. Or it could be something as serious as like a money move, like, Jay-Z just let his part of Tidal go, like we talk about, we break it down and stuff like that. So BMO goes in too deep, Matt goes in the bag. He's in like the tech world.
Okay.
So a lot of his stuff is like kind of around that subject matter. And then, he might also have a money move of the week. So me, I'm real introspective and I don't know, in tune with my emotions and just the world around me. So mine is always the thoughtful question of the day.
Okay.
And then a lot of times I'm the person who's facilitated whoever we're interviewing.
Okay, so, but all three of y'all participate in each segment, right?
Well, it depends. Like, BMO goes too deep, that's usually BMO just doing his thing.
Okay.
Matt, whatever he might say, we might like counter it a little bit, or not the counter it, but like, talk about it. And then with mine, it's meant to make everybody think, so everybody's gonna have some sort of response to it.
Right. And how long y'all been doing this?
We've actually been doing it for about 2 years, but we started out doing it like we the first preliminary episodes we did it the homie's crib because he had the equipment or whatever, and then we were doing it at the Line Hotel, and it's
the Line
Hotel,
the Line
in Adams Morgan.
Okay.
Yeah, so it's interesting. I was talking to one of my little homies yesterday, and we were talking about like when you start a podcast, it's like the getting consistent is kind of like the thing that kind of eats people. And for us,
it's one of the most important things too.
One of the most important things. So like for us, we were doing it at the Line Hotel. All we really had to do was show up. Have the guest or show up. So like that got our discipline kind of in order. Now, we meet every week or so. And then like even in pandemic, we were meeting like every maybe 2 weeks, maybe a month. It all depends on how life was going. So in that regard, like now at this point, like, okay, so let me backtrack a little bit. So we're doing it at the Line Hotel, then COVID hits. Line Hotel pretty much completely shuts down.
Right.
So that whole like full service radio, that's their, podcast station, that shit was in the weeds. Like you can't fuck with it no more.
Yep.
So at that point, we're like, we know how to do this. Let's just do it. So we're in the pandemic, as I was saying, we're recording the episodes in BMO's. The first episodes were in Matt's crib, and then when we were coming back to it, we were doing them in BMO's crib, and then after BMO's crib, then we kind of started the situation at the Bridge, and then now that we're kind of seasoned, now we're starting like our own podcast network.
Okay.
And
dope.
housing and hosting and housing the podcasts that are going to be part of the Bridge podcast network.
So is the Bridge Podcast Network the name of your network, or is that something else?
That would be the name of the overarching network. Yes, sir.
So the network thing, did you feel like you needed to get your following to a certain level before you started a network, or you just starting a network and just start getting people in there just to work together?
I mean, our strategy behind it was mostly like the best thing we can, like the proof of concept is like us. So once we get our shows rolling, then it's like nothing to like show people like, yo, you can do it too type of thing.
That is the move, man.
And then at the same time, it's just like we were rocking with full service radio. It was a good situation, but like once you hit the fan, it was like that was it.
Yeah, man. You gotta adjust. You gotta pivot. Quick.
So now it's like it's not like we were gonna stop talking stop talking our shit on our own podcast. So it's just we had to adjust.
Yeah. Yo, that's interesting. Yeah, because I'm kind of I don't want to say non-traditional, but it's not really a podcast like what I'm doing. It's all videos based.
This homie's catching up.
But I am, like my lady and I had the Sensory Sunday thing, and we are planning to go, podcast type of situation with the audio and everything. So I've been trying to, get some equipment, some other equipment. I have a lot already.
Right.
And I'm
got a whole situation in here.
Yeah, but I'm set up for video really. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, shooting in here, like you can hear, it's like the walls, the sound kind of bounce off a little bit. So I gotta be conscious of that to get the best quality sound that I can and whatnot. But I thought about the whole network thing, to one, just start trying to work with other folks or whatever, and their creative visions and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's been an interesting road to us because some of it we learned as we went along, and I'm saying that in regards to like, let's say you pick a host or whatever, and trying to get that synergy of like when we post it, then it posts immediately, or what error we may have gone through to get it to post quickly. So now I'm saying once we leave the studio, we can pretty much post it before we leave. But
so y'all not even like doing a lot of editing and stuff?
I mean, for the most part, like we have our little, I guess, engineering board, whatever them things is called. It has a lot of the sounds and songs in it. So like when we're doing my thoughtful question of the day, we have this little noise.
Boom, boom, boom. Yeah.
And then we say something crazy, we got like a applause and shit.
Dude,
like that.
I gotta get a laptop like
interface.
Pro Tools.
That's what it's called, interface.
Yeah, I gotta have that. I gotta be able to drop a ball or something, some applause, some drops, all that kind of stuff. It looks fun.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, like you saying, like I'm very into podcasts myself. I was listening to the Knuckleheads earlier today. Mm-hmm. They did one with Ray Allen.
Okay.
So like, I mean, theirs is pretty straightforward, very similar to yours, but like a lot of the podcasts that we really love, they got sound effects in the back. Mm-hmm. But yeah, man,
you gotta keep people. Like people want to laugh, right? They want to be entertained. They want to laugh, whatever. So if you can add humor, even when we're talking about serious topics, sometimes on like Sensory Sunday, I try to bring some humor into it with a story or something. My show, this, we just kicking it like sipping on broccoli. It's what it is. What it is.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you kind of like you kind of like a jack of all trades. Like speaking about the whole over the shoulder thing, whatnot. You got the photography thing going on too.
So, I'm kind of I wouldn't say I'm shy, but like I don't know. I leave certain things to the professionals, and like I'm learning to be a photographer. My photography homies will tell you like, you're good at this shit. You really are a photographer.
You have an eye, right?
Right. Like a lot of the shit that people have seen from me has mostly been on my phone.
Okay. Yeah.
Without really learning, like I'm just like in my mind, I see frames. So like I'm sitting in this room, this shit looks like a picture. I take it, what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And it, like I said, so seeing in frames, I'm just really capturing what I see. And then, like I was saying, since I'm always around creative homies, a lot of us that create, we don't think to really capture ourselves. Like if a designer is designing, they don't think to have a camera on the table.
Right.
Like they just in the zone.
Just create.
And for me, it's just like very early on, I realized that like, yeah, I mean, this is a whole lane. Like, take pictures of your friends that are doing creative shit. This is way like, at the end of the day, marketing self. Like one of the best things you can do is put yourself up. Mm-hmm. Like if I'm on my page, Thomas the Great, a picture of me is gonna go harder than any flyer I could post.
That's true. That is 1,000% true.
So, with that being said, I kind of pushed that into my friends' heads, and they just would love whatever I shoot. So, yeah, and now like I'm trying to teach myself the right way, and get a real camera and stuff. Like I've been borrowing my nephew's camera, but pretty soon I'll be investing in the camera and going from there. I got Lightroom on my computer.
Okay, there you go. Learn the settings and all that stuff too.
Yeah. And I'm not even gonna sit there in front like I know all the settings. I know what looks good. Like I'll take a picture, okay, turn it black and white, okay, highlight this. Like I don't even know what the shit is, but I know it looks nice.
There you go. It's kind of
you don't overdo it, so then it looks wild overexposed or something like that.
So man, how you're a creative dude, right? You're always like and you got something always going
something
on.
moving at all times.
You've always been like that, like since you was a young lad.
So I suppose this is. The best way for me to break it down or explain it is that like I would have to go through my history, right? So my family, everybody is an entrepreneur or creative in some sort of way.
And he's a storyteller. Keep it pushing.
My oldest brother, his name is Tommy. Well, I'm Thomas, he's Tommy. My dad is Thomas, I'm Thomas Jr. His son is Thomas. But so many Thomases.
It's like George Foreman.
Right, low key. I never really realized until I got older that that's how it was. But my oldest brother is like an intellectual god. Like, I mean, he was a journalist. He did sculptures. He does carpentry. He was the mayor of our town back in Africa, aka. He was the mayor of our town back in Ghana. What am I trying to say? So like for me, and the creativity and the storytelling, all that, like I look up to him. And then like the next brother after that, well, 2 brothers later, he has his own moving company. Also does fitness training on the side.
That's crazy.
And then my mom and my dad, my mom has had her own nursing business some way, shape, or form since I was in high school.
Right.
So she had a nursing agency, and now she has a CNA school. So she's been a registered nurse my whole life. Okay. And just, didn't feel like working for nobody else, so she did her own thing. And then my dad, anyone who knows my dad knows that he and especially like Africans, knows that he's been talking about his Kenke enterprise in Africa. So Kenke is like a cultural delicacy in Ghana.
Okay.
And it's like a cornmeal situation. You put the cornmeal in yellow and white, and then you mix it up with a lot of water, and then you let it ferment for a few days. And then you cook it in the pot, and then you eat it.
Word.
A lot of times you eat it with fish and shito, which is like our form of hot sauce. Okay. So my dad has always been like, okay, everybody cooks this, but like nobody does this on an industrial level. So like literally my whole like adult life, he's been kind of putting the plays together for that.
That's crazy, man. So were you born in Ghana?
No, I was born here. But I would say that number one is that kind of gives its own sort of cultural identity crisis, because like I was born here, my parents are straight from Africa, but like I barely went there as a kid. But like the love for it was heavy.
So you were speaking about, of course, every battery that I have that I'm using for this setup right now died like at the same time. So
that's crazy.
Camera's back up, sound is back up, and here we go. You were talking about Ghana though, and how
how like my heritage made me.
Yeah.
So what I was saying is that like low key, every one of my family members is an entrepreneur of some sort. Yeah. Like not necessarily all creativity based, but like we just go for self type of thing.
After it, yeah.
So you mix that with the actual heritage of Ghana. We're a very hospitable people, right? So like it's very similar to like we doing this in your crib or whatever. Like in our culture, the custom is that like let's say you knock on the door, you come through, or you say you're gonna come through or whatever. When you come to the house, we sit you down and we like ask you what do you want to drink. It could be alcohol, it don't matter. Like that part is not under restriction. And then we ask you how's life. And then we give you the time and space to say how you feel.
Straight up,
just like that.
How's life for real? Not just like hi.
Right, like because being a little kid, the person could be coming to talk about their wife or some shit. Like I'm just saying that off the wall, but like they could be talking about whatever. And I would say that mentality or that me growing up that way, like that's how I move in the creative scene.
Okay.
I would say that like So there's a few things that go on. So one of the first ones is that like I'm a very empathetic person, right? Mm-hmm. Like I guess the real proper term for it is I'm an empath. Mm-hmm. So like it almost in my mind feels like I feel other people's emotions, right? And a lot of that comes from, as a kid, like I'm not gonna sit here in front, like I was like a crybaby. Mm-hmm. But now as an older man who started to understand his emotions, like that makes me feel like, like if you hurt me here, I could tell you that. Mm-hmm. Like I can identify this is the source of the hurt, or this is the, I made this decision because of this on an emotional level or whatever.
Right.
Okay, so I'm saying all that to say that like back into the creative stuff, like it helps me read people. It helps me understand like how to present something to somebody. Like a lot of times, like, I joke around with my foreign friends, like, a lot of our fathers say shit to make you think. Not so you can respond to it like and talk back, but like say shit to make you think. So like if you're not prepared for how they coming at you, you could be fucked up like a little bit, and fucked up for a good portion of your life if you never understand it. So I say all that to say that like that's how I move with people. Like I'm gonna encourage, like, the I'm an naturally encouraging person, but I'm like also reminding, like let's say we didn't connect dots like how we connected, but like I know you got the podcast. Next time I see you, I'm gonna ask how the podcast going.
No doubt, that's
true.
What I'm saying? That's true. That's true.
Yeah, man. That's true. And or be like, I like if I watch one, I'm gonna be like, I heard your joint it's ill. You know what I'm saying? Like stay in this bag, like it's real good for you. Blah blah. And that's how I naturally am. So I would say the DMV though is kind of like the exact opposite.
Really?
And yes, we like we love when our people make it, but like that road to making it, like it's just like being in New York or anything like that. Like we just we're not naturally gonna give you the respect. Like you have to earn the shit. And then at the same time, like when you come up in this area, like you grow up with a chip on your shoulder because somebody don't like you or whatever, and then you grow up looking over your shoulder. And those things kind of naturally make you protective of self, as opposed to like an open book in a sense.
Right. Me
being an open book is like kind of rare, but I've kind of learned to protect myself, mentally, physically, whatever, in certain ways. So now I don't have to keep thinking like that. So it's like the way that I grew up in this area isn't necessarily how I carry myself out in the world. Like if I see you, I'm showing love. If I feel like you're talented, I'm encouraging, and so on. Like right now, even the stuff that I'm wearing, I'm wearing shoes that I got from a homie around the way who had just started reselling shoes. I got this shirt from a homie I actually met online. Like there was this group called Minorities in Media.
Okay.
And like the people in it can be anywhere from NBC to like the local photographer. So I actually met a photographer through that, a couple of photographers that are now actually going crazy. And this is one of their merchandise. The hat that I'm wearing is All Verb No Convo, another one of my creative homies. And All Verb No Convo, like a lot of the stuff that I'm buying, I'm not buying it, I know this person. I'm buying it because I really like this shit. Like the back of this shirt says what? I pray we ball forever. No doubt. I fuck with that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? All verb, no convo. I don't have to tell you about the shit. I'm gonna go do this shit.
Right.
So like for me,
that's dope.
Like a lot of how I move out in the world is like they say, create the world you want to live in. That's kind of, I want to put positivity in the atmosphere. I want to put positivity with a dose of reality. Like I'm not gonna see you and act like everything's flowers and incense or some shit. Like I'm gonna tell like, if I feel emotional this day, I'm gonna not necessarily tell everybody, but I'm gonna tell someone.
Right.
And then, if I'm feeling happy and celebrating myself, I'm gonna also do that.
Yeah, I mean, look, man, at the end of the day, you're being yourself and you're staying true to yourself.
Right.
No matter what.
Right.
And that is what you have to do to be able to live with yourself at the end of each day and throughout the course of your life.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So I'm a firm believer in that. So yeah, that's what you're doing, man. You living your truth.
Right, exactly.
No reason to be anything. There's no reason to be any way different.
Right. And then, like, at the same time, right, like, if you deviate from one reason or another, it's just like, try to, like, one of the things I tell everybody is to be patient with yourself.
Yeah.
And, like, when you're patient with yourself, you could also be doing some shit that's out of, for lack of better words, like, out of body or out of your normal self.
Out of character or whatever.
Out of character, there we go.
Yeah.
And it's like, take time to understand why you even wanted to go that direction.
Yeah, and nobody's perfect. We're all imperfect beings, and those moments are the ones where you learn a lot
About yourself.
Yes.
So
So you make those mistakes, whatever, you step out a little bit, then you analyze it and you say, man, I could have done this, and that, and the third. I could have handled it this way and whatnot. And next time, you know what I'm saying? Because once you hit a certain age, like I was just saying the other day, you hit a certain age, you start seeing everything twice at least.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So at least next time you come in contact with this type of situation, this scenario, you learn from the last time.
Right.
You might deal with it differently.
Exactly. But yeah, man.
That's interesting though, man. That's that's a tough way to be, navigating a world where a lot of people don't look at things that way. A lot of people are just, they like. I'm similar to you in regard to, I like to link people. I love linking people. You know what I'm saying? Right. Never figured out how to monetize that shit. Maybe I need to figure that out. But
I mean, I feel like we kind of navigating that in our own way too, though. Like right now, like I was saying earlier, I have the podcast. That's one way to that's one way to link people and one way to use your platform for others. And then at the same time, working with a musician. When I started doing a clothing line 10 years ago, did I ever think I would be in a studio with a musician when I don't have any musical talent? I don't even rap. Like, somebody asked me to freestyle, I'd be like, no. But people regard me on a creativity level. So being in that room, now, as you sit with self and try to start to understand shit, people pay for that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be, you paying me $300,000, but okay, you paid me $50 to sit in this session with you or some shit.
Something.
And it's that's what I'm kind of learning now. Okay, it doesn't have to be, we don't have to reinvent the wheel trying to do this thing, but people regard you in this sense, walk within that. You have to be comfortable doing it, right? But walk with that power.
Right. And I find, I find joy in it.
Right, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? I find joy in that.
It's the best part.
Yeah.
To connect, when you connect the dot and it actually turns into something.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
It's beautiful. So look, man, you kind of touched on, a couple of things when we had the technical difficulties and whatnot.
Right,
You're a hip hop head. He's like,
man,
how'd you get into hip hop, dude? Because we started a Wu-Tang conversation,
and both of us were reciting lyrics back and forth.
I'll recite a large portion of Wu-Tang catalog.
Okay, so it's funny, right? I'm one of those people that my music tastes kind of actually have been all over the place.
Okay.
So my parents and my older brother, my brother is the one, let's say, who had the Tupac tape.
Okay.
But my dad would have the Kumo D's and the Kumo D's and the MC Hammers and the Al Greens. And I mean, my parents' record collection is probably stupid right now, but I had the mixture of both.
Yeah.
And then at some point I deviated from all that and was just listening to straight alternative music, like Weird Al Yankovic and all that.
Word.
And when I came back to it, one of the things that was present at that time was Wu-Tang.
Yeah.
And one of the things that came out at that time was Triumph.
96.
96.
96.
And
96, 97. I think it's 96.
Wu-Tang Triumph, I almost want to say that defined my love for hip hop. That song by itself. Number one, it was if you really pay attention and get deep into the Wu-Tang rabbit hole, they have this number one. If you listen to their how they talk to each other, like the 5% shit and all that, like it's an uplifting way to refer to one another. I call my brother son because he shine like one type shit. And then in addition to that, it was like the mastery of the English language mixed with the Ebonics or Ave, whatever word you want to use. And it was just like, yo, like he's telling this story, like Ghostface, you know, he's telling this story, but it's just like mad ill how he did it.
It's a dialect.
It's a dialect.
Right? And he didn't even have to search. Sometimes he didn't have to say things, he would say things without saying it.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So he's like, you know what I'm saying? And that's what he's doing. He's like,
And it's like, it doesn't even have to make sense to nobody. Like trying, for example, right? One of the funniest, more interesting lyrics is, at the end with Raekwon, he's like, guaranteed to make you jump like Rod Strickland. Rod Strickland couldn't really jump. No. Like all he did was shoot layups.
Yeah.
But like it was ill how he put it together.
Yeah. Guaranteed to make you jump like Rod Strickland.
Method Man, like talking about frying your wig in a frying pan or some shit.
Right.
Like, you know what he means. He means he's probably gonna shoot you or some shit. But like, how he put it together is interesting.
Yeah, those dudes were masters of slanguage. You know what I'm saying? Like their slang was still to this day out of control. Me and my boys, we recite Ghost and Ray pretty much daily. Like it happens all the time. It's
funny. I rarely say this, and I feel like I may have said this on a podcast a long time ago, but. I actually referred to a Inspector Deck lyric in a college class before. Like I'm explaining something to the teacher and I used Inspector Deck.
Word.
Like it was the lyric specifically was abomatomically Socrates philosophies can't define how I be dropping these.
Hypotheses can't define how I be dropping these.
Yeah, I knew something like that. Either way. Yeah, thank you for the correction. But I said that to the teacher. And I'm saying that like, yeah, you can't fuck with me on an intellectual level type shit. I'm not saying that to the teacher like an insult, but
how did you take it?
The class laughed. That wasn't necessarily.
They knew.
Like, I'm not necessarily a class clown, but I would say shit just so everybody could smile type shit.
But people understand the point.
Right.
Abomatomically, Socrates' philosophies and hypotheses can't define how I be dropping these.
And see, like that shit, like. That's why for me I've always enjoyed intelligent black folks in different ways.
No doubt.
Like that, like the mastery of the English language to be a poet and or a rapper has always been interesting to me.
Yeah.
And just out in the public, like, you know, one of the illest moments intellectually, I would say for me personally, and dealing with black folks was actually when in this social justice era with when Freddie Gray happened.
Okay.
There was these 3 moments that happened. There was one where Kwame Rose was kirking on Geraldo. And he was like, get the fuck out of here, da-da-da-da. Because he knew, at that time, all of us knew that they weren't there to cover the news.
Yeah.
They were there just
to make a
feeding off of it, for lack of better words. And it's like, people who was from Baltimore, like, I forget who I was talking to recently. People who was from Baltimore was like, they made it seem like the whole city was on fire. It was like, literally that like one building.
Yeah,
or one block.
Like a CVS or some shit like that, right? It's like, boom, that's it.
But how y'all reporting it makes it look wild.
The whole city is going up in flames.
And then there was another interview, also on Fox News or something, and it was with Nick Mosby, who is like, let's say he's like a city councilman, and his wife was the state's attorney, is or was the state's attorney. He's getting interviewed, and the dude isn't really like trying to talk directly to him. He's just asking all this like wild inflammatory shit, and he just like walked away from the interview like, yo, you're not really listening to me, so I'm out. And
he like, give me the sauce. That's all he wants. He wants some.
And it was like, that was like a taking shit back. You know what I'm saying? And then the last one was on CNN on live TV. A state representative or like a congressman. No, it had to be a state rep. he was getting interviewed, and the lady just kept fixating on the word like thugs and vandals and shit. And he was like on live TV, and was like, "Why don't you just call them niggers?" Like just like that. But it was
know
just
what you want to say,
right? Like, and for me, it was just like I know I'm smart. I know what the fuck you saying to me. Like, don't take me for an idiot.
Right.
And
how she react?
I'm sure they like cut off of it.
Right.
I don't think she was necessarily appalled because I think the interview kept going, but it was just like, at the end of the day, the ability to be conscious and be aware enough to like say that in a way that they can't really do much about it.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Like, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And I'm mixing that with the Wu-Tang because them niggas was mad smart. Yeah. RZA to this day is RZA, GZA, all of them are to this day legends on a mental level.
You know, it's funny. Like one of the stories I've heard, Old Dirty was probably my favorite Wu-Tang member.
Right. Okay.
And I saw him live. I was fortunate enough to see him live at 930 Club one time.
Wow.
And one of the things that I've heard Busta Rhymes talking about it, and Ghost and Ray, is that Old Dirty was one of the sharpest gods, like the 5%ers. Right. He was one of the sharpest. They said all the stuff y'all saw or whatever. They said he was very intentional with the things that he did. Don't think that he was just on some
Wu-Tang is for the children.
Now he had his his thing with alcohol and drugs and all that kind of stuff and whatnot. But they were talking about how sharp he actually was, one of the sharpest of the clan and the people in the neighborhood and stuff like that.
Like I was just saying, the Wu-Tang is for the children. If he's on live TV saying that, like, you can just smile and carry on. You can't even cut away and this and like. It was brilliant, that move.
And he was real. I bought this suit. I bought this tuxedo. I spent a lot of money on this joint.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm in my raps.
That's Kanye before Kanye.
That's Kanye before Kanye.
You can say Kanye got that from him.
Yeah, like Kanye, like, yo, man, Beyonce had the best video. What y'all doing? But, Old Dirty killed that. Like, yo, I spent a lot of money on this joint. And our raps is better than they over here rapping about partying and champagne and all this other stuff that don't make no sense or whatever. But
what I'm saying makes big sense.
And y'all not awarding us for that. Y'all should be. And people have the same argument today when it comes to award shows and all that kind of stuff.
I feel like nowadays, like, a lot of the best musicians and a lot of the people who are talented, we're not necessarily looking for recognition anymore. Yes, it's cool if we get a Grammy, and yes, it's amazing if we get a Billboard, whatever, all those things. But it's like, some people are still after that. But a lot of people have realized that, like, that situation and, what is it, the Emmys and all the Oscars and all that.
Oscars and Emmys.
All them shits be like tilted one direction. Like, the Oscars, I believe, is like run by some French journalism company, so they don't really understand what the fuck is going on.
Right.
Anyway.
Yeah, some of these shows and some of these platforms, I'll call them, they're trying to do the right thing, right? But it's coming from a place of no one wants to be disgraced. No one wants to have their name tarnished and have their brand tarnished. So they're not doing it from a moral standpoint. They're doing it from a
PR standpoint.
Yeah. So you see, Tiana Taylor just got Sexiest Woman Alive.
Right.
First black woman to get that. I forgot what magazine that is or whatever it is.
Well, that's what, like 20 years overdue.
No, I'm not saying she doesn't deserve it.
No, she definitely deserves it. She is, like,
but
right now.
It's interesting now. You know what I'm saying? Like,
the timing of it all.
The timing is very interesting. You know what I mean? Nas got a Grammy.
Right.
It's like,
why he didn't get one for
Grammys
Illmatic?
Nas could have got? Yeah, Illmatic could have got a Grammy. It Was Written could have got a Grammy.
Right.
The Nigger album could have got a Grammy. The Nas album could have. I mean, he could have got crazy Grammys. Like, he had a lot of dope joints. Now y'all want to give him a Grammy for King's Disease?
Right.
Okay, it's a great album.
Right.
But the timing is interesting when you look at it. They're doing it for different reasons.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, some people still do. I mean, people want to be acknowledged for their work. You know what I'm saying? For their art and stuff. They want to be acknowledged and stuff like that. So I understand it. And all these BET Awards and other type of award shows, Source Awards back when it was around, like a lot of the black artists, they don't be supporting joints. Soul Train, stuff like that. You know what I'm
Yeah, I
saying?
mean, all of these have been, what's the word I'm looking for? They've been protested against at some point.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm not even talking about like the recent joints, like
Nah,
Will
James
Smith
Dillon.
and all what is it, self-destruction?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody who's on self-destruction like rebelled the Grammys at that point.
Right. Yeah, it's been happening. So that's dope though, man. You know, Wu-Tang, I mean, you know, I'm a little older, you know what I'm saying? So my love of hip hop came way earlier. I got the vinyl over there to prove it. But Wu-Tang,
I feel like we like the same age though, but
oh yeah, I got a young spirit. You know what I mean?
right.
You know what I'm
Both of
saying?
us got young
Old
spirits.
soul, young spirit. But Wu-Tang changed my life too. Like it just changed things. It changed hip hop. It just changed things, dude.
Right.
Like when they came out, I am a Tribe Called Quest fanatic.
Right.
And so
Okay.
Wu-Tang came out. It was like, what
The
is
fuck
this?
is this?
What is this? You know what I'm saying? So I get it. I understand exactly what you mean. And that's dope, man. That's dope.
And it's funny. I guess you can say that was like the extent of me in anime. Like,
Okay.
if you really pay attention, like Wu-Tang kind of came before the cartoons, so they had like a lot of the kung fu movie shit in it,
Yeah.
right? And like, I never really got that deep into cartoons.
The
But-
anime stuff.
The anime stuff is what I'm referring to. But like, I was into the shit that came before it, and that also, like, I used to every Saturday morning, like everybody used to, at least when we were younger, everybody used to watch them kung fu movies.
Yeah, man. I watch every weekend.
Yeah, so like
It was
I got into that, but I didn't necessarily get into the anime. That's it.
Yeah.
But I still like, it's just interesting how like anime has grown as much as it has, and then, you know, even further, like has all the like festivals and stuff that they do.
yeah.
One of them is down the street at the MGM. I think it's called Katsukan or something like that.
Yeah, I've never. I mean, I liked it, but I never got into it that deep. You know what I'm saying?
And that was kind of my thing. But I just like, now in reflection, it's just like, well, I guess I was into it my own way.
Yeah. Kung Fu flicks though, junkie. I'm a junkie, man.
Yeah, man.
I got DVDs in the closet still. I was gonna get rid of them. I don't even know why. But yeah, every Saturday, man, and me and my dad would go rent the joints too. We had little joints before Blockbuster and stuff came around.
Right.
That you can go rent videos and stuff, and Kung Fu joints, man. We just go get them and watch them. You know what I'm saying? So you get all the regular characters in there, the villains, the meek little, you know, those guys, whatever.
Right.
That own the restaurant, that get punked out all the time, and you know it's always the same plot, but love
Yeah, it
to
really
death.
is all the same
It's
plot.
the same plot. It's the same plot. Somebody did something. We're gonna get some revenge for that. That's it. That's what's up, man. We're gonna get ready to shut it down, brother. It's been dope, man. A good convo, son.
Most def.
Yeah, we got work, yo. We got something else out, man. We got good.
I didn't even like get
Combo.
deep into what I've really been doing, but yeah, the photography was part of it. But like,
Listen, I can, you know what I'm saying? I can reset and we can have another session. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, because like I'm sitting here thinking like I didn't really talk about like I talked about the origin. I didn't necessarily talk about like the DC part of it.
Okay, well let's go ahead. Let me reset real quick, and then we're gonna get into another segment, and then, you know what I'm saying, keep it moving from there.
Gotcha.
Boom. Yeah, man. You want to get a little deeper into
The creative
history,
stuff,
yo?
yeah.
Let's do it.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Fredericksburg, Virginia, right?
Okay.
So that's an hour south of DC, and
That's a nice town.
yeah, it's a nice little small
I
town.
like it.
And I don't know, like coming up, especially like when I was in college around that time, a lot of people were trying to like fake it like they were from somewhere else.
Within the town?
Yes, and like when you came up here, or like when
okay.
I went to VCU, and it's like there's a mad and embarrassing moment for the dude. Like I never pretended I knew. Like now I know like the geography of DC, but at that particular time I'm not gonna pretend like I knew. And like this dude came around my friends and said some shit like Southwest Berry Farms, and that doesn't actually exist.
Nope.
Like it's Southeast
Southeast.
Berry Farms.
Right.
And
You close, but no cigar.
right, and it's like for me, I never wanted to even try and lie and put myself in that type of scenario. Like,
Right.
I'm from Fredericksburg, but respect me type of shit. And where I'm going with that is that like I've always tried to be myself, even if like we were talking about before, even if like I deviate a little bit, I always have some way or some mechanism in my head that helps me center back. But yeah, so like I was saying, I'm from Fredericksburg, Virginia. Currently living in Alexandria. Been around the DMV creative scene for the better part of like 10 plus years.
Word.
The thing that brought me up here would be a brand that me and my friends started called Karma Life.
Okay.
And that the meaning behind that was kicks, arts, rags, music alive.
Okay. Word.
And alive meant like do your thing, do things that make your soul live.
Yeah.
And I like number one for the blog we had at that time, like I took that part serious. I always wanted it to be one of those things. And then the alive part, I really like. I also took that serious, and I like wanted to make sure that I used the platform to share my friends' work.
Yeah.
So like at this particular time it was like I don't know the early 2010s or whatever however you want to refer to that time, and like a lot of talent. As always, there's always been a lot of talent that's from here, but like at that particular time, like I'm writing about people. One of them is Alex L. Alex L. right now is like has 1 million followers on IG and is like a well-known author.
Okay.
But she was just starting out at that time, making bracelets, and might put a post up about how she feels about life. But now she's like gotten deep in that bag and gone crazy. Another person that I interviewed, like, is this girl named Hey Sweets. She was a painter at that. She's still a painter. She was a painter at that particular time, and like had designed some major things, but nobody had interviewed her yet. And it's like I noticed real quickly that number one, the people who are in DC, like a lot of them just stay in their pockets. So if I'm in Northeast, I just stay in Northeast. I don't really know what's going on in Southeast.
It's so crazy too.
And then that, in addition to like the way the like media is set up here, at least it used to be set up, it's like there was a wide gap between like being known and unknown. So like if people don't know you, like it's whatever, and then like it takes a long time to reach like the Washington Post. The Washington Post doesn't naturally write about what goes on in the scene that quickly.
Right.
Like you almost have to be almost a national notoriety level to get written about in the Post.
Right.
You're making a big ass festival or something of that nature. So I noticed that, and I wanted to make sure I covered that in some sort of way. So like I did that with the blog, and then further a little bit further, I had a radio show at Listen Vision, which is on Georgia Avenue, like well-known spot at that particular time, and I took like when I was doing the podcast. When I was doing the blog, one of the things that was important to me is like, if I meet you and I think what you're doing is ill, I want to write about you.
Okay.
And I would like come to people with that sort of humbleness, like, yo, I think your whiskey and kicks is ill. I want to write about it. I want to write about like what makes you do what you do, how you move, and all that. And when we transitioned into the radio show, that was like a even deeper, like a podcast. A blog post. It's a paragraph or whatever. Like a radio show, that's like a solid hour of you talking.
Yeah.
So like
It's a lot of content.
That's a lot of content. And then like, I always joke with people that like when you get into the YouTubes and all that, that's like an essay. That's like an essay or a term paper. Like you can get deep into that thing. An hour's worth of YouTube shit is golden.
It's a lot.
It's a lot. So I've always been want to share what my friends are doing. I've always been want to share my platform. And then, as time went on, I've been tapped into, like I was saying, help my friends with music stuff, or, help this friend create this festival or anything like that. So like, if I go through the resume, so to speak, and that's like another thing, like as a creative, we kind of look at all our experiences as like singular when they're connected. So like, having the clothing brand, oh, it didn't do well. You think of like, oh man, fuck that time, that didn't go well. But that experience might teach you like, but it's very easy to get into that thought process. So like, okay, Karma Life didn't work out. Then what? You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, we stopped doing the radio show. Then what? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't believe in that was a waste of time. I don't believe in that.
No, that's something that like, whether that's me personally or that's something that like a lot of us think of, like, I have this story that I tell. Like one of my homegirls used to run this spot called Caged Bird, and it was a black-owned bar in DuPont Circle, and DuPont Circle is like a legendary strip for DC nightlife.
Yeah.
And I'm talking to her about it, and she's like, yeah, that situation didn't go how I wanted to, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, nah, I don't think you understand. Like, I'm looking at you, and you owned a critical part of DC.
You did that.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what I want to remind you of. And I'm saying all that to say that, like, it's easy to get in that thought process. This thing didn't succeed, so I want to wash or rid myself of that experience. And it's like, one of the things that like I noticed, especially doing the podcast, is like one of my first guests, he had like every accomplishment that he had, he put it on like his website. So every newspaper clipping, every this, every that, and then there's like hundreds of them.
Yeah.
And it's like when you view your creative experience as a resume, then it feels different.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
You did those things. No one can ever take them away.
Right. Like, you can't take away that I've built my own festival myself. You can't take away that I've helped a friend build a festival and then been part of a festival. Like, I volunteered to be part of Broccoli City. I can say that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? I've, run my own vintage clothing line, clothing company for a certain period. I've had my own brand. So like, this marketing thing is embedded in me in a certain type of way. And then now, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, for me personally, the thing that I'm working on now is really more promoting myself, but presenting it in a way that's unique. You know what I'm saying? So like, when I first started doing things like the Karma Lifetime, I'm writing to like, promote someone's thing, right? I am promoting my blog, but I'm really like, okay, Whiskey and Kicks is cool. I want to highlight Whiskey and Kicks. That was the thought process. And then after a while, running that clothing brand, I would start to go to a lot of clothing trade shows. So I'm going to New York to go to Capsule and Liberty fairs and running into people like Josh Kissy and meeting Ouija from Brooklyn Circus and stuff like that, and getting free clothes from Fred Perry. Shout out to my Fred Perry Connect that still exists. But I'm saying all that to say that, like, okay, at that point I could have very easily become like an Instagram influencer or something like that.
Right, true. Or
making
like those connections.
That radio show could have is preceded podcast. It could have been a podcast. But so when I stepped away from all that, I got into this place where I became a deep part of my friends' endeavors. So like when Trezzo Beach was around, not when Trezzo Beach was around, it's still around. When I was part of Trezzo Beach, like, I'm part of this thing to help one of my friends. Okay. And then when I was part of Midnight Barbecue, I have a personal relationship with Lamine and Lo, so that's why I was there. Was I as conscious and aware of my powers at that particular time? Maybe not.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? In that particular situation, I feel like I was a cog in a wheel. Like, I just was helping the machine move along. Now I kind of understand myself and understand where I'm trying to go. So like, it's not just, I'm more purposeful. If
There's still a value in what you were contributing though.
Right. So like, there's been a natural progression. Okay, now I run this podcast. Like, I just put one of my artists on the podcast. Why? Because, you know, I'm trying to get his stuff to major blogs. They respond. They might not respond, but I'm not necessarily going to wait for them. Right. I'm not necessarily going to badmouth any of them, but I'm not necessarily going to wait. I have my own platform, so I'm going to use it to create our own narrative for what we're trying to do.
No doubt.
We're trying to promote Vibe House, which is our company. We trying to, you know, he's going to be a guest. He's going to be an amazing guest, popular guest. So like it works out for everybody for him to be on it. Mm-hmm. And it's like now, like I said, now it's like a awareness of self and awareness of the landscape and awareness of how you want to project yourself. And the photography thing literally fell in my lap in COVID. So that's a beautiful bonus. But like I was saying, like the breadth of experience has made me who I am today.
That's dope. That's dope. I mean, you know, especially you just got more in touch with yourself and
right.
You know what I'm saying, and discovered things that you didn't necessarily know were there.
And I want to say that like COVID did that, like
something else.
And like for a lot of people, I would say that like COVID had a lot of people mentally fucked up because nobody was used to being by themselves for that long.
Yeah, it was no joke, son.
Because like the literal isolation of COVID
is a lot.
And then like you add that to like, yo, I have these, like all the things that you were avoiding or not dealing with, now you have to deal with it because you have nothing but time to think about it.
Yeah.
And for me, it was just like, I'm not going to sit here in front. I lost a few things in COVID. But at the same time, I learned that like, okay, this is why I probably want to walk away from that. Or this is why this situation didn't work out how I wanted to.
Yeah.
Where I'm not going to sit here and let the energy of like, why did this happen to me fester? I'm going to be like, all right, I learned from that. I'm going to move forward. Mm-hmm. Am I going to be as trusting of people? Maybe, maybe not.
Right.
But like for me, I always have viewed myself and my life and just my character to like this. Like the metaphor that I always say is that my kindness is in the palm of my hand, right? And whoever I'm around, I'm going to pay attention to how you take from that hand. Like, do you take from that hand? Like, do you snatch?
Right.
And you're not worried about nothing? Or do you take from the hand and put back into the hand? And that tells me of your intentions with me as a person.
Right.
If I view it that like, yo, this situation happened, you just kind of disposed of me, then do I really need to stick around?
Nope. That's learn.
So, like, that's what I'm saying. So, like, I sat with myself and, you know, realized that, you know, I maybe I could do this photography thing. My homies who are photographers are telling me, yo, you have the eye, like, stay with it. You know, my man who's doing music is like, yo, I'm doing this album. You were part of it. Here goes your name on it. Oh, shit. Like, I've never experienced that before.
That's done.
That's done. This is solid. Like, it doesn't matter if you fuck with me or you don't fuck with me. You can't take that away from me.
That's legacy.
That's legacy.
I'm looking at things that way these days.
And I can only, like, I can't worry about what the fuck anybody thinks about me. I can only work on what I know in my head and what I know I can do. Mm-hmm. And it's like, for me, that's what makes this time amazing for me right now because I'm not worried about what nobody else is doing. Like, I might, one of my things that one of my homies would say is that I'm good at like surveilling, right? Like I'm good at paying attention to what people are doing and like encouraging them, but I can also take that myself out of it and take like watching it so much and like just enjoy it for what it is and then go over here and do my own thing. And it's like now, especially like in COVID and just in general, like I'm not necessarily sharing everything that I'm doing. But I'm always working.
Right.
Like this week alone, a model for one homie. I'm on this podcast. I put Scala on the podcast. Like
staying busy. Yo.
I'm staying busy.
You know, and it's just a healthy thing to express your creativity. Yeah, to get that creativity out for me.
Right.
For sure. When I have a thought, some type of creative thought, whatever it is, however big or however small it is. Once I express it and put it out to wherever it needs to be, I feel completely satisfied.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Whether money came in or not, or whether somebody reacted to it or not, it doesn't make a difference. But yeah, it's so that's those all that stuff you got going on this week and whatnot. You did that like that week. You expressed your creativity in however many ways, and that's satisfying.
And it's just interesting that this weekend, DC is open up, so there's like 15 events this weekend.
This weekend coming up,
right? And old me before COVID probably want to go to like half of them shits, but like new me, a little bit older Tom, is just like, yo, I had a long week. Like I'm about to sit my ass in the crib.
I have no problem staying at home.
I have no problem staying at home, enjoying life with my girl, and that's it.
I am exactly that way. I mean, we are going to be in DC Saturday, but just to go have dinner and and come back home, bro.
All that other shit don't matter.
No, son. Look, I've been on I'm leaving the city when all the crazies are coming in.
Right.
So I'm not about the nightlife. That's done for me. My time is happy hour time. And I'm out. So I get it done.
I think even the last time I linked with you was on some happy hour type of time.
Yeah, son, it was light outside.
And then we was out.
You know what I'm saying? It was light outside. So that's how I get down. I'm with you on that shit. So I ain't got time for that. But things are opening up, man. And just as you go back to COVID, you're discovering things about yourself, realizing things, and like for me, my whole thing was I realized I knew already that I'm a person that like to be surrounded by love.
Right.
I have to have love around me and beauty, not necessarily I'm not talking about pretty women and stuff like that. I'm talking about beauty and love around me at all times.
An inside out type.
Yeah,
shit.
man. And being home by myself for a long period of time put me in touch with that need big time.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So yes, it played with me mentally, and then it put me in touch with I am not as indestructible or invincible as I may have thought when it comes to mentally. You know what I'm saying? Like mental health is a real thing. So it put me in touch with that. Like being home every day, all day, day after day after day after day after
was
day.
mentally tiring.
Was exhausting, son.
Right.
I was like, I can no longer do this.
Like for my girl or just some people who have I won't even want to say regular jobs, but have desk jobs or whatever. Mm-hmm. Looking at your four walls for that extended period of time just feels wild. Like when work is done, she trying to go for a run with me or something. Just go outside and get some light, get some vitamin D.
Mm-hmm. And I realized that that's 1,000% correct. Just going outside, just being outside, it made a world of difference.
And it's like for me, okay, I'm going outside to do my actual job, so it's just like I don't even understand. I'm not even gonna say I can't wrap my head around it so much because like I'm already outside.
You're already outside.
Like I'm outside so long, I'm trying to come in the house and chill. Even
to this day, you see my spot. That's the only window in the spot right there. Boom.
Oh, wow.
Right. So I work from home still
right.
to this day. Sometimes I'll just go to the rooftop and just sit up there. You know what I'm saying? Just sit up there and chill for a minute and get some air and just like some outside. But I went up there today and the damn cicadas ran me away, so I can't.
Right. Them cicadas. them cicadas is something else. It's funny. I seen this meme earlier. I think it was yesterday, and this lady she was like, yeah, she's a teacher, and she was like, yeah, the kids are tired of cicadas because it's like, yo, they can't really see, but how do they see me and land on my ass? Like what's that about?
Random, yo.
I don't believe they can't see. That's what really is.
Random. Yo.
But it's funny how kids think like that though.
Yeah, I know. It makes sense, but they had to understand it's so many of them. I mean, I went up there and sat there. I sat down, and 2 seconds later, he punched me in the back. I'm like,
all right.
Yo, is he still on me or what? I don't know where he went. I don't see it. Like, you know what, man, I'm out there. I'm going back.
And it's like the wild shit is like them cicadas don't really be doing nothing. They just run into people.
They run into people.
They're not biting you. They're not doing no. They're just
Nothing.
mad annoying how loud they
And
are.
they're huge.
And then they just right in your face.
17 more years, man. They say the end of this month, beginning of July, they'll be gone. Then 17 years later, they'll be back.
That shit is so wild.
It's wild, son.
Like I'm 30, about to be 36. Like the last time I seen him, I was in high school. Like that shit's so crazy.
It's crazy. Yo, man, I think we about to wrap.
Right.
We got a lot done. This was a nice chill session.
Yeah,
I've never eaten peanuts on my show.
We could talk for hours if we're not careful.
We can go. You know what I'm saying?
We might talk after this. Who knows?
We will. Of course we will. You know what I mean? So I appreciate you, man. You know what I'm saying? Tell people to find you though.
Okay, so a few different places. Excuse me for eating the nuts while talking.
Pause. Yep.
Yeah, pause. My fault. So on IG, Thomas the Great. On Twitter, Tommy Pickles, Tommy_Pickles, Pickles. I don't really have. I have a TikTok, but I don't really like post nothing.
Oh, yeah, me either.
I think it's Thomas the Great. I can't remember. Those are my major two social networks.
Yeah, man.
Working on the website. Have my hands in a few different things. You'll see it when it's necessary, not necessarily before that. Yeah, man. Shout out to the team. All Verb No Convo, Vibe House, Creative Boy. Trying to think of who else. Shout out Trezor Beach. Shout out Chris Pirate. Shout out Mitch's Laboratory. Everything that at Midnight Barbecue, everything that I've been a part of directly or indirectly over the past few years, like I appreciate it all.
That's what's up. Appreciate you, man. You know what I'm saying? And I appreciate the relationship. You know what I'm saying? I'm sure we're gonna do some more things in the future.
Most def. Some way, shape, or form. Y'all might see it, y'all might not see it. I might have my hand in it. I might not.
Might be in the background. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? You might be a videographer and don't even know about it.
Right. Well, I don't know. I've been saying to myself, like, I'm getting into photography back just to have a professional understanding of it, and then like I'm kind of leave it at that.
Right.
Just because, like.
That's what he says.
But
his last words.
Next thing you know, I might be studying it like you talking about.
Yep. I might need something shot. You never know. But yo, man, Sipping with Brocky, man, it's another one in the books.
Sipping the good stuff.
We had a couple old fashions here. We didn't even talk about those, but a couple old fashions. Kept it light today.
Yeah, old fashions is definitely a classic. Could never go wrong with that.
Classic, man. And
we almost forgot to mention it. My favorite drink is actually Honey Jack and OJ. But when I'm out, it's usually an old fashioned.
Boom.
So
I got it done. I got the sweetness in there. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, exactly.
Like the Honey Jack, so got a simple syrup in there. That works out.
Yeah, definitely. I could keep drinking these.
No doubt, man. Be careful with that, son. You have 4 ounces of bourbon so far. Rye, actually.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, man.
Appreciate that.
No doubt, brother. Y'all be good, man. See y'all next time.
Peace.